Tonight on the Rambler Sports Locker, the men's soccer team continues their perfect record this season. RSL reporter Madeline Kenny is in-house here to do a breakdown of the women's soccer team, and Dylan Conover and his Ramble analyst discuss the future of Carson Wentz. Welcome back, Rambler fans, to another edition of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Blake Keller.
And I'm Patricia Martinez. The men's soccer team continues to dominate the field as they picked up a win against Drake University. Redshirt sophomore Grant Stoneman helped the Ramblers defeat the Drake Bulldogs during last Saturday's game. It was in the 86th minute of the game when both teams were looking for a goal. The Ramblers' Brody Crossell played a short corner to senior Kirill Likovid, who sent it to the box where a leaping Grant Stomer headed it into the post to put Loyola on the scoreboard.
The Missouri Valley Conference named Stoneman NVC Defensive Player of the Week. This marks his third consecutive week of claiming the honor, as he was the deciding factor in giving Loyola the win on the road against Drake. The victory over the Bulldogs is a first in program history for the men's soccer team, and Loyola remains undefeated this season and now has a 1-0-0 record in the Missouri Valley Conference. I met up with Grant Stoneman earlier today to talk about the men's soccer success. Well, Grant, thanks for talking to us today. I want to congratulate you again on being named Defensive Player of the Week, third consecutive week. So, tell me a bit about how you feel about having this honor.
It feels good. I mean, 3 weeks in a row, it shows that our team's playing well, and it shows that that I'm playing well as well. Hopefully we can just keep it up. Hopefully I can maybe get 4 or 5. We'll see what happens though. I know Frenchie, my partner next to me in the center back's been playing really well too, and so is Kirill, and so is Marius, so maybe they can get some accolades as well.
So with Defensive Player, you also lead the team with 3 goals. So what's it like coming in as a transfer? This is your first season as a Rambler and having the success that you've had.
Feels good. I know in the spring I got to meet the guys, got to get real close to the guys, went to a trip to Peru during the spring break, and it was really, really fun. We got really close as a team, and I mean, it feels good being the team leader in goals, but hopefully our forwards and midfield can step up and start scoring some goals. Hopefully you can see that Saturday night against SIUE.
So on defense, Loyola is ranked number 6 for team goals against average. Chekadinov hasn't let up a goal in 464 minutes. He only has 11 attempts, but he let 2 slip up earlier this season. So what could you say is the key role that defense has played so far?
I think it starts all over the field when our forwards and midfield are pressing well and shaping the field for us. It translates and correlates back to the back line. So if they can win the ball high up the field, then that means we don't have to do much. So I think the whole team as a whole is playing very well defensively, and hopefully we can keep it up because we're not really giving up that many opportunities for other teams to score.
And so you're coming to Loyola from the University of Wisconsin. What makes this team different to play for than any other teams that you have previously been on?
I feel a little closer with the guys here. I mean, it's a smaller campus, and I just think being here a semester and going on that trip with them, I was just able to bond with the guys. I'm really close to basically everyone on the team, so I mean, it's just really nice having a really good team chemistry. I think that goes a long way.
Loyola returns home this Saturday when it hosts SIUE, the defending season champions.
The Loyola women's softball team released their fall schedule this week. The Ramblers will play 6 more games this fall as Coach Jeff Tyka welcomes back 5 starters. They begin with a doubleheader against Valparaiso on September 24th. The Ramblers will go on to face Notre Dame on October 1st and play UIC on October 7th.
One of the big questions on campus is, what exactly is a Rambler?
RSL reporter Emily Morgenstein went around campus to ask students if they knew what a Rambler was, and you may learn something new here.
I'm Emily Morgenstern, and I'm in the David Student Center, and today I'm asking students if they know the answer to the burning question, what is a Rambler?
What is a Rambler? I don't know, actually.
A Rambler's a wolf, and it was a hobo. Like back, we all learned in orientation. It was like it stood for a hobo, but then they thought that was really weird. So they're like, oh, well, like we'll be the Ramblers. So I think it's like a wolf.
What it means to be a Rambler is just something amazing. Being a Rambler is having pride, showing effort, and always making sure you give it 100%.
It's something to do with the pogos. That's all I know, really. I mean, but also, I think one of the reasons they chose that as the name is because it kind of has to do with the behavior of wolves, and that's our mascot as well.
Ramblers, wolf that's very courageous and loves to ramble around the community.
Apparently a Rambler is, it's like a rumor. I don't know if this is a rumor or like an actual truth of how the mascot came to be. But basically it's like when Loyola didn't have a football team and they went like rambling around because they didn't have their own stadium.
Loyola University of Chicago is the only university in the country that calls their student body the Ramblers. The nickname Ramblers was first adopted by the university in 1926 because the football team was constantly traveling due to the fact that they did not have a home field. The football program was dropped in 1930, but the name Ramblers stuck. In 1982, Bo Rambler, Bo being short for hobo, became Loyola's mascot. The university later realized they needed a more appropriate mascot, so in 1990, the current mascot, Lou Wolf, was born. Loyola Athletics deemed Lou Wolf a better fit because it represented the school's wolf and kettle logo. Today, Lou Wolf is a symbol of school pride for Loyola University. The mascot can be seen rambling around campus while interacting with students, as well as cheering on the Ramblers at sporting events. Through the wins and losses, celebrations and heartbreak, Lou Wolf will always be there. For the Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Emily Morgenstern. Go Ramblers!
The women's volleyball team was busy over the weekend. Last Friday, the Ramblers gave all they could against host Butler for the Butler Invitational, but it was the Bulldogs who came out on top with a final score of 3-1. On Saturday, as part of the Butler Invitational, Arizona got by the Ramblers with a score of 3-1. Senior Morgan Reardon had a team-high 16 kills, her 10th time this season. Later on in the day, Loyola went on to face Northern Kentucky as Reardon and sophomore Gabby Majikowski both recorded double-doubles to lead the Ramblers to victory with a final score of 3-2. The Ramblers begin conference play this weekend against Illinois State and Indiana State.
Men's golf opened their season at the John Dolly Invitational earlier this week. The Ramblers closed out the event on 11th place. It was DePaul who claimed the title, holding off Bradley University. Junior Garrett Buckley and freshman Nick Bonema carded scores in the 70s on the final day. The women's golf team hosted the Loyola Fall Invitational, moving into a tie for first place on the final day. Loyola finished even with the Butler Bulldogs, but the Bulldogs took the title off a tiebreaker based on the final round score of the number 5 golfer. Junior Jessie Stade, sophomore Elena Bowser, and freshman Morgan Brown all had strong showings. New women's golf head coach Carly Schneider says she wants her team to get their experience now so they have a fighting chance at winning the Missouri Valley Conference title.
I'd rather see the girls gain that experience right off the bat and then in the spring really hit it hard.
Loyola and DePaul's women's soccer team squared off in the Red Line rivalry game Wednesday afternoon. The Blue Demons' offense was too much for the Ramblers. They lost 4-1. For a full women's soccer recap, Madeline Kenny is here to do a breakdown of the women's soccer team this season. Madeline, thanks for joining us. What's going on?
Thanks for having me, Blake. Well, it's been a really unsuccessful season. After going winless through its first 8 games, it's safe to say this is not the season women's soccer team had hoped for. A preseason MVC coaches poll pegged the Ramblers to be the second best team in the Valley this season. But with a lack of offensive productivity, which added unnecessary pressure to a young defense, it comes to no surprise the team didn't win a single game in nearly the first half of its schedule. Here are my 2 reasons why the women's soccer team is having a season to forget. Number 1, it's offense. Off of 88 shots this season, the Ramblers have only made 7 goals, 7 in 9 games. Loyola is averaging less than a goal a game. Let's rewind to last season when the Ramblers averaged 1.14 goals per game. That's nearly a half-goal deficit. Head coach Barry Bimby says the lack of scoring is a result of exhaustion and frustration, and I'm going to argue that the team's inability to score is more mental than physical. What Loyola needs to do is rebuild its confidence. Junior forward Katie Grawl leads the team with 3 goals. As a veteran leader, she needs to take responsibility of nurturing the younger talent to make them more comfortable and confident playing on the collegiate level. And number 2, let's move back to the defensive end of the field. Coach Bimby has switched between 2 goalkeepers all season, junior Maddie Ford and sophomore Cassidy Lentz. Loyola can't blame exhaustion for the leaky goalkeeping because the keepers have had plenty of relief time. But what can be blamed is a defense plagued with holes that lets opponents get to the net with little to no contest. Now, the goalkeepers aren't doing a terrible job. Lentz and Ford are averaging about a combined 75% save average. What Loyola needs to do is tighten up its backline and play aggressively, and with resilience too, attacking the ball rather than letting its opponents meet them and end up surpassing them. Now, there's still plenty of time left in the season for the Ramblers to make these adjustments to get out of their slump. Last season, the Ramblers were the 5th seed heading into the Missouri Valley tournament and grinded its way to the championship game before losing to Evansville in PKs. If the Ramblers can find a boost in confidence, make aggressive changes towards the net, and tighten up its defensive coverage, Loyola can try to salvage this season.
Thanks, Madeline. The women's cross-country team led with an impressive start, placing 5th overall in the National Catholic Invitational. Junior Emma Hatch led the Ramblers, who placed 13th overall with a new personal record of 18 minutes and 23 seconds after coming off an injury. For the men's cross-country team, they placed 6th overall. Leading the pack was junior Alex Baker, placing 21st and finishing strong with a time of 26 minutes. Both teams are set to return to Notre Dame for an invitational on the 30th.
After last week's controversial win on the Ramble analyst Henry Redman is back with host Dylan Conover. We'll send it right over there.
Hi, welcome back to this week's Ramble. Joining us under questionable circumstances is Henry Redman, and joining us today is Nick Schultz. I'm Dylan Conover, and guys, we're discussing this week Carson Wentz, rookie quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. He beat the Bears on Monday Night Football. Is he the real deal? Henry, we'll start with you.
I think he's played fine in his first 2 games. I think it's just a little bit too early to take the measurements for his Hall of Fame jacket.
Nick, what do you think?
I don't know. I think he's doing pretty well this year. I mean, you look at his numbers. 60.6 completion percentage, and he's got 468 yards with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions in his first 2 games. That's unheard of. And he's won his first 2 games. Joe Flacco and John Elway also won their first 2 games. Look at them.
In no way is Carson Wentz the same as Joe Flacco and John Elway. Those numbers are so average for an NFL quarterback.
Well, Henry, my question to you, Peyton Manning, I think who we can all agree is one of the greatest of all time. He threw 28 interceptions his rookie year. And Wentz has thrown none so far. So, at what point does he become the real deal?
Wentz hasn't thrown any interceptions. He's played the Browns and the Bears. We have to take into account that he's played 2 defenses that last year were ranked in the bottom half of the NFL. Talk to me when he throws at Josh Norman, when he plays the Redskins twice this year. He plays the Vikings, who just made Aaron Rodgers look like a scrub. He plays the Seahawks D. He's got to prove himself against elite defenses, which he hasn't faced yet.
Nick, do you think the defenses have been enough to show that he's got what it takes?
I feel like it has. He's coming from the Missouri Valley Conference. No disrespect to Missouri Valley. We are the Loyola Ramblers are in the Missouri Valley. However, going from that to the NFL is kind of a big jump. It doesn't matter who you face. These are professional players. It's going to be a little bit of a step up from D1 football, for North Dakota State.
Wait, what? He's in the Missouri Valley Conference?
Yeah, North Dakota State.
Pretty sure that's wrong.
That's what ESPN told me.
Okay, but sure. The FCS, he's fitting into the system that Doug Peterson is giving him. He's not playing above and beyond the system. He got put into an offensive coordinator, his head coach is an offensive coordinator. He's being put into that system. He's playing fine in that system, but that's all he's doing. He's fitting into a system. He's managing the game.
He's got a 63.8 quarterback rating in his first 2 games. He's doing pretty well, I think.
He's so average. I just think it's too early to say that he's blowing away the NFL. He's faced 2 mediocre teams, 2 teams that are projected to finish in the bottom of their divisions.
I'm not saying he's blowing them away. I'm saying there's the potential there for him to be a good quarterback. The potential is there.
Sure, it's there.
He's going to live up to that potential. He's going to be an elite quarterback.
I'm saying from what I've seen, he's not the real deal yet.
Just wait and see. Look at the numbers from his college years too. 216 attempts rushing.
He played in the FCS. You can't take his college years.
Unfortunately, I think you even said it yourself, Nick. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm going to have to agree with Henry here that, it might be a little too early, especially because he has played the Browns and the Bears, that maybe the competition isn't quite up to par. So unfortunately, because I know he was here under questionable circumstances, I'm going to have to go with Henry again for this week's win. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Dylan. But as a Seahawks fan, I have to say that Russell Wilson was the real deal as a rookie.
For our full episodes and the chance to get in on the conversation, follow and like our social media handles for an up-to-date look at all things Rambler Sports.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Patricia Martinez.
And I'm Blake Keller. Check back here next week for another episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.